Hi, welcome to episode 176 of your favorite daily podcast, A Couple of Things, a podcast about things. Today, I'm going to be talking about the internet, basically. So, yesterday, no, let me start from. So, everyone talks about how the internet is forever, everything's on the internet forever, blah, 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 blah. And yesterday we were jolted out of that thought or belief because, or I don't know if it was yesterday, but I just saw the news yesterday that MTV took down their entire archive of stories, content, critical work, everything, pop culture criticism, and so on and so forth. And that is wild because many of those things only lived online, and the people, I actually wonder about this thing because I used to also write a lot of non-fiction pop culture related things, and some of the websites that I wrote those things for no longer exist, and I don't have them anymore, and I don't have any way to reference them, and many of them I don't even remember what they were about because this was before. I don't know, for some reason, like I wasn't saving things to Google Drive as much then as I do now, as I've done in the past couple of years. And so all of those things are gone, or people whose blogs I wrote for and they took down their blogs. I wasn't tracking those things. I don't even remember the blogs that I wrote for and the websites and all of those things. And to even find them and curate them and collate them and even have them just for myself to say this is what I was thinking about so many years ago or then or whatever. Which, if you think about, is actually a bit concerning because we're literally deleting or losing history. We're losing the archives, the things. Before, these things lived in books, and the promise of the internet is or was that they will always be there. So even if a library can get burnt or books can get destroyed or whatever, but if it's on the internet, then there's this record of it that it's not going anywhere. And that seems to not be true. I mean, like, again, I've personally experienced that not being true, where you lose files or a website is taken down or never maintained and stuff like that. Even some of the things that I started recording and keeping track of, when I click on the links where they were hosted, they're no longer there because those websites have been taken down or they have changed the direction of what they're doing, and so you can't see the archives, the previous posts, the things that people had written about, commentary, um pop culture criticism, those kinds of things, theories, and all of these things that are really really important but only live online. And I don't know what this means. I don't know what it means for us, but I'm sure that people much smarter than me and who are more in the space of that topic. I don't even know what umbrella that will be on. Is that information management or archiving or whatever? Have written extensively about the importance of things like this. I remember reading some time ago about how researchers were complaining about the fact that they weren't able to access Twitter APIs anymore, which was very not helpful for the research that we're doing, which was basically understanding the zeitgeist. I hope I pronounced that word correctly. I've never used that word in real life. I know it from reading and reading books and reading articles and things, but I've never actually like said that word out loud. But anyway, yeah, so like not being able to access those things, to see those things, raises, somebody's going to come and talk about decentralization and building your own servers and things, but nobody wants to do that. Maybe like five people in the world want to do that. Okay, obviously I am exaggerating. I be whatever the word is. Obviously, there are lots of people in the world who do that and want to do that, but the vast majority of people do not want to do that, are not going to do that. So, what can we realistically do to ensure that we're not losing recipes, basically, that we're not losing valuable information and valuable insight about the world, about people, about the cultural zeitgeist of the moment, of specific eras and specific periods of time, and not losing those kinds of things. which I think will be a shame to not have anymore on like a societal, not global, but like societal level, and then also even on an individual personal level. People who have been writing on the internet for a very, very long time, and they don't have their work anymore because the website that was hosted on that you trusted to be around no longer wants it on there. Hi, thanks for listening so far. Just to pop in to say, please send me questions. I'm running out of things to talk about, so send me questions or suggestions. The link to do that is in the description box of the episode. Also, subscribe. Thanks. Okay, let's get back into the episode. And there's something to be said again. Much smarter people than me have probably talked about like the economics and power of it, like how a few companies hold all of these things. So there's projects that lots of people are doing to archive books, like physical print books that don't have online versions, to archive them online, and so that we have these records of them that are digitally available. But again, like those companies could close down, or they could decide, actually, we're not doing this anymore. It doesn't benefit us. It's not profitable, or the stakeholders are not pleased with it. And then it goes. And so what then do? We just lose all of these resources. And these things are expensive to maintain. And I guess that's where things like government archiving and libraries come in. But then there's also the politics of that. What do we archive? What do we not? How do we sort, categorize all of those things? Again, not my area of specialty, just a random thought that, again, this is my podcast where I talk about things that cross my mind. Right? So just a thing that has crossed my mind this between yesterday and today about that. And what I was saying earlier about like decentralization, blah, 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 is potentially a way to solve the problem, but I don't know anything about that. And I think that, again, currently in the current state that it's in, for the vast majority of people, that's just not realistic. But yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to my random thoughts. Bye. Oh, one more thought on archiving and data, blah blah blah. I was just thinking, just as I was about to download this episode and then upload it to Acast. Before, the problem was that we were only transferring information, histories, blah blah blah, through oral methods, oral traditions, oral storytelling, whatever, and then writing helped us to archive better and for longer and without relying on people's memories. And the internet was supposed to be the advancement of that, the better way. But yeah, here we are. And projects like way back, the Internet Archiving Project and so forth, again, really great. And Archiving NG is doing that with like Nigerian newspapers, archiving them so that they can be made available online, so you can see what was happening in Nigeria in the 50s, 40s, 30s, and so forth, which I think are all very important projects. But yeah, it's like, what happens to all of that when like, I don't want to mention any companies, but like the MTV thing, like them getting, like, just pulling everything down, then what happens? There's really nothing we can do in that instance. Thanks for listening. For real. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If there was anything you found interesting or insightful, or you enjoyed the episode, please do share to someone or multiple people. Like, leave a comment, and definitely do subscribe and all the nice things. Bye.